Hello, mi gente, and welcome back to Nata Knows Best. So, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I have made a ton of Puerto Rican recipes on my channel. And in almost every single one of those recipes, I'm always talking about how important it is to make your own homemade sofrito. And in a few of those, I've actually showed you how to make my sofrito. But I realized I never actually made a dedicated video showing how I make my sofrito recipe. So today, that's what we're going to be doing. Let's get into it. Homemade sofrito is an important part of Puerto Rican cooking. It's made with bold herbs that really elevate all of the flavors. So I'm gonna quickly go over those ingredients. First, you're gonna need a whole bunch of fresh cilantro, and you're also going to need a bunch of culantro. Now, Puerto Ricans tend to know culantro as recao, but if you're having a hard time finding it, you can find it in a local Asian supermarket. In this recipe, you're also going to need some onions, some peppers, specifically ají dulces, but if you can't find those, you can just use some green peppers and some red peppers. And you're also going to need some garlic. So as you guys can see, I already added my chopped up onions. And next, I'm gonna add our herbs. So I'm just going to cut off the stems from our cilantro and put a handful inside of my jar. Next, I'm going to add my culantro, and this is such a bold flavor. I highly recommend using the culantro. It really takes this sofrito recipe to a whole nother level. It's very similar in taste to cilantro, but you'll notice the biggest difference is how the leaf actually looks. Culantro has a very distinct flavor and scent, but it is so good. I have a small mixer, so I have to be careful how much sofrito I make. I tend to make it in batches, but the next ingredient that we're going to add are the ají dulces, which are our red peppers or our green peppers. These tend to have a sweet taste that is really gonna mellow out the boldness of the herbs, but it's just gonna complement everything together. So go ahead and add one full pepper. So I added all of my peppers. And the last ingredient I'm going to add is our minced garlic. Now, when it comes to this exact recipe and the measurements, you could really just play it by taste buds. So I tend to add a lot more of the herbs than I do of the garlic and the onion because I really want the culantro and the cilantro to shine in this recipe. All right, so I just finished up dicing our garlic. And now that we've added all of our ingredients for our sofrito, I am going to put our lid on and do the simplest part, which is blend it. Now this is a great recipe to make in advance and then store it in your freezer and just have it either in little small ice cubes like most Puerto Ricans do, or you can have it in some Tupperware, and whenever you're ready to use it in any of your recipes, you can add it in. So go ahead and blend up your sofrito. Okay, so our sofrito is done blending, and you know the only way to make sure that this is good is to smell it. And it smells exactly the way it's supposed to. It's very, very bright in flavors. It's extremely aromatic. And as far as the consistency goes, you'll notice that it's a little lumpy, but that's totally okay because the first thing you're gonna do anytime you use this sofrito is you're gonna cook it down in a pan with some olive oil. You're gonna go ahead and simmer it in some other herbs and some spices. So this is just gonna become even more pronounced in any recipe. All right, mi gente, that's it. That's how I make my sofrito recipe. Again, I love using this in all of my Puerto Rican dishes. It just really gives everything such a bold, tasty flavor. If you guys like this recipe, go ahead and click on the link below. I will be adding this recipe to my Nata Knows Boricua playlist. This is a playlist that is jam-packed of Puerto Rican dishes that all feature this sofrito recipe. So go ahead and check that out. Stay tuned for next week for another delicious recipe. And as always, mi gente, thank you so much for watching Nata Knows Best.